And now, Detailing Success and PNS Double Black present the Renny Doyle Podcast, a podcast for blue-collar entrepreneurs. Hosted by the detailer of Air Force One and founder of both Detailing Success and the Detail Mafia, Renny Doyle.
Good morning. What's happening, gents?
Hey there.
Good morning. How's it going?
Got to get this screen configured right. There we go.
Is it configured right? Looks great. Except there's some three ugly dudes on there.
Well, you have the benefit that yours got blurry right now, so nobody can see how ugly you are quite yet.
Oh God, thank God. Yeah, thank God. It's better to listen than to see. You know, even though my wife would beg to differ. How cool is that? Almost 30 years in, we're still.
And she still thinks you're hot.
She still thinks I'm cute, man. Yeah. Hey, Oscar, why are you blurry? Did you go out with some friends last night? You know.
No, I'm not blurry. You're blurry.
You're blurry. Yeah, that's funny. Am I really blurry?
A little bit. You were good when we first started. I think it'll work its way out.
Huh? Yeah, because on my side, it's Oscar's all pixelated. So who knows? You know.
No. So, the internet is a funny thing,
isn't it? Yeah, I'm on the right. Everything's good to go there. So, well, hey, good morning, everybody. So we're going to talk. This is the economy. It's changing. And, you know, we've been blowing the whistle to kind of get ready. Everybody's like, oh, it's doom and gloom. I haven't been doom and gloom. I just knew it was going to catch a lot of people with their asses hanging out, and it has. But it's a good time right now to capture people. Say, God, are you worried about it? No, because I'm an action person. I don't care. I know what's going to happen in the long haul. I've seen this too many times. Even we've slowed down in different sectors of some of our businesses. That's okay. It's completely natural. Biggest thing is like in the training side of things, people start A, discounting it. B, everybody becomes a trainer. C, they do it for free. And then they start getting burned out because they realize that when you're giving it away or you're super cheap, guess what? It doesn't last. And in blue collar, I've talked to people from all over the world, blue collar entrepreneurs. Things are all over the place. Is that even some of the big successful shops that have been around, legacy shops, legacy businesses, legacy contractors, they're starting to fill things. But most of them, if not all of them, they're not really concerned. They saw this coming. They made a lot of money. They put a lot of money away. They've paid off debt. They've got good debt. They don't have a bunch of bullshit debt around. They know what they have to do in the effect that if it keeps going, they're going to come out on top. And that's exactly my mindset right now. Is we've had to change. We're hunting more than we ever have. Hunting's good. A lot of people are oblivious of what this means. People are either so content and they're working the system they've built. They don't know anything's happening. And that's awesome because they've stayed on the marketing and they've gotten ahead of it. We got caught with our pants down because we were so busy. We're like a lot. We're still in that group, but we didn't keep quite ahead of it. And so that was a learning lesson later in life. Now we're far enough ahead and far enough into it, and we've got decades into it to where it's not too severe. It's just we're playing a little catch up. And I'm going to talk about guerrilla marketing, an old book. We're going to talk about that. I've gone back into, guerrilla warfare and business, and it's working, man. And, we're going to talk about 120 days out we're probably 200 plus days out within the training side. So this all should be sounding familiar to you people. Everybody listening, whether you have a shop, training facility, anything else, what do your competition do? They start giving things away for cheaper or free. They start to get desperate. They start looking desperate. They start taking shots at other people. They get off their game. They're paying attention to what other people are doing and not what they're doing. And they start hurting. Sound familiar? We're seeing that right now. So then the other side that's oblivious is they're working. They're staying ahead. They're staying ahead of the marketing curve. And hunting's good, but they're having to hunt. That's where most of us are. Most of us are having to hunt. I've turned up the hunting, and this morning I turned it up in another big way. I love Winston Churchill. I do a lot of studying. on Winston Churchill, and it was said about him. I think it was President Roosevelt said that, Winston has 100 ideas a day and only 6 are good. I kind of fit that and I dig that because um, I'm constantly full of ideas, and I wish that I could get 3 of the 6 good ones a day into action because I'd just be loaded. I mean, absolutely loaded, but you can only do so much, right? So a lot of people are that same way. Yet there's another sector that's living job to job. They're barely surviving. Been there, done that. If you're kind of new, if you came up through COVID, that's probably going to fit the bill pretty good. Really, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, blue collar entrepreneurs, even white collar, that haven't seen they're at an age in their business and or in life or both that this is kind of the first reality. It hasn't been. I think it's been kind of easy street for a decade or more, really probably 12 years, that it hasn't been, you haven't had to hunt a whole lot. Definitely the last 4, 5, 6 years it's been pretty easy to go out there and make it. So this last sector that's going from job to job is when you're in constant survival mode and the financial needs of you and your business start to fail and they don't take action soon enough. Those last 2 groups, the ones that are marketing and just living job to job, and then the last sector that's constantly in survival mode, they're barely making it, but they're not being honest with themselves. They put themselves in a really vulnerable spot. And so, I think this is a great time because those last 2 categories, unfortunately, are the majority of entrepreneurs, and it's going to be a lot of us are going to gobble up market share when we come out of this. Also, the other thing is that I don't think the economy right now. I think it could. I'm preparing for it to go to shit, but because that just puts us in a better position, right? So, am I backing off on spending? Yeah, I'm spending where it counts and not spending on stupid shit. Matter of fact, one of our financial advisors is coming up this weekend. They'll be here Friday. I want them to kind of see the grand picture of where I'm going for the next 5, 10 years, because they play a huge important role in that. And the conversations I have with our financial people, I've got a really smart team right now behind us, smartest financial team I've ever had involved in my businesses ever. And that says a lot. And so, yeah, there's what we're going to cover today. So small talk, man. My phone's blown up in the last several days. PNS made an announcement that, the gosh dang it, I just lost the PNS has been bought out. And so, I shouldn't say bought out. They've been acquired, and I've known about it for a couple months, and we just had to kind of keep quiet. Sorry, guys. It wasn't until late into the game that we could tell, right before we went public, that I brought Chris and Oscar into it, because you can imagine, Bob and Dave wanted to kind of keep this under wraps. And if you've ever sold a business before, it's pretty hectic. So, we're going to probably bring Bob and Dave on at some point and end of the podcast. We want the dust to settle. We're meeting with the group that bought us. That we're joining. I'll say that's probably a better way to put it. The group that we're joining, because pretty everybody at PNS is still intact. There's been no shift in personnel. There's been no shift in leadership. There's, everything's right there. And so, my phone continues to blow up. Even this morning, it was off the rails.
I was going to jump in and say it's the Appearance Technology Group, right? Which,
ATG.
Yeah.
ATG.
So they also, what do they have? They have 3D, high tech, and there's one other I can't remember.
They just bought out a tool company right before SEMA. They were using their tools.
Geez, I should have this right at the tip of my tongue, and I don't. They're putting together a great group. It's a powerful group, and there's a lot of hyenas. I call them hyenas at the door, which is natural when a company goes through a transition like this. And it's speculate. There's a lot of speculation going on right now. A lot of the competition's putting vicious rumors out there, which you expect. But PNS is a powerhouse, and this group that we're involved in now is a powerhouse. There's a lot of investing going into our business already. We're getting people that they've added into the management circle to help growth within all the brands. And so I'm trying to stay up with the phone calls and text messages. But if you sent me one and I haven't got back to you, it's because I'm 300 deep right now. Probably not going to get. I mean, I usually go back 10 and then there's 20 more to replace them. So, but all's good. So we'll bring Bob and Dave on to kind of settle the nerves. We're going to bring them into the Mafia. The other thing that's been going on is, you know, I've been doing a lot of Mafia messages, live messages to our group, kind of coaching and training them up. Phone's been going ballistic on that. I've hit some nerves, good nerves, and motivated some people. But we got some really cool events coming up, fellas. And you guys are going to go on the road a little bit. We'll get into that here in a bit later in the week. But we've got a ski day coming up next month. And we're going to have it's not just skiing and boarding too. You can bring the family up. This is a family event. And there's snow play right there at the ski resorts. We're probably going to plan a time to all have lunch. And, you know, it's going to be right here at Snow Summit. You're going to have to buy your own tickets and stuff. We're not going to cover that because the day of skiing I took my adult kids up while they were here, and it was not cheap. Skiing's become expensive. And so it's a lot of fun. For those that want to, I'm actually going to offer a lot of people don't know it. I taught skiing, back engaged in the adaptive ski program here in Big Bear with special needs. And if you need a little help on the slopes, I'll get you going in the morning and at least get you to the beginner level and get you to where you're coming down the bunny slope safely and put a smile on your face. Skiing, two things I've done this year. Guys, I don't know. I'm probably in the happiest point I've been in my life in the last 7-8 years, maybe 10 years. It's pretty happy. But right now, man, I'm lifting like crazy and I'm skiing like crazy and I'm getting to see my wife like crazy and I'm getting to spend time by myself. Man, I'm just in a really good spot, and skiing plays a huge part in that. You guys have seen, if you'll follow me on social media, I put pictures up of me escaping. My goal is to have 50 days in this year. Don't know if I'm going to hit it, but I'm going to try because we're not having the greatest season. But if we get a late winter in, hopefully I'll hit that. So right behind the ski day, which is Chris, that's February 9th, right?
Yes. Ski day is February 9th. And right behind it is an extreme one-day class up in Big Bear with Rod Kraft and Jamie Elligan from Griot's Garage.
Man, these guys are just good dudes. We're gonna have a one day extreme. We got Buff and Shine going to be in the house. This guy named Oscar that we know is a cool cat. And so let me ask you this: ski day. Cool. Now we're gonna have an Esprit ski also that night. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna ski during the day. That's on a Friday. We're gonna come back and have a little bit of open bar with. If you've got your kids coming, we'll have sodas and we'll have a beer and some cocktails, hot chocolate. And I'm going to do a couple of I'm going to smoke some meat so we can have sandwiches and finger food. And it's going to be I'm going to probably do about 15 pounds of tri-tip on the smoker. And we're going to come and just have a kind of an early dinner and social hour here at the shop. And then the next day for those staying for the Griots event, that is a pay-to-play event. We have limited space available. Last year we had these guys here, and I'm telling you, I love to cross-pollinate this way. I love to be Switzerland. And these gentlemen to work with are class acts. And we use a lot of their products in the training center. And so to have them, it was an amazing educational day. And we just want to invite people out to join us. And pretty cool. So we've also got, this is where Oscar comes into play. We've got a one-day Spanish event down at Ray's shop. And so it's going to be, I'm brushing up on my Spanish. Oscar, don't make fun of me when we get there. But Oscar's going to run that because he's bilingual. He's fluent. He's also, 3 languages because you can bullshit pretty good too. And so, but talk about what we're going to do down at Ray's place, Oscar, a little bit. And, we talked about doing this for a while. We actually did it with another trainer We were one of the first ones to ever do it. They don't necessarily say that online, but we actually had the first all Spanish speaking event up here at Big Bear several years ago. And this one we're really excited about because we're taking it to the next level. And what's your vision for that training day?
I mean, I've already been talking to Chris Woolman here about it. The itinerary. If you've heard of the Extreme One Days, it's going to be the same exact thing, except obviously we're different target market. That we're going to come out to the Hispanic community doing it 100% in Spanish. Except Renny will be speaking Spanish. I'll work with him on that. But again, to get out there and get the certification and get these detailers up and coming on what's going on, and definitely talk a little bit about business and how they can use this training and turn it around and make profits. Because it's that's the biggest thing is getting these small business owners profitable. But again, by changing the target market and being open to the rest of it, especially here in Southern California, where the majority of detailers do speak Spanish, and a lot of them are just Spanish speaking only. So helping them out, and then just giving them also the one thing that I do want to drive is the importance of, yes, even though you're Spanish speaking, your clients not all the time will speak Spanish. So a lot of it is, how are you going to convert this training and the lingo into English and how to sell your services.
Absolutely. I'm really, really excited about it. We've done this before, and it's just a great way to reach another segment of the industry. And so again, another pay to play, 1 day extreme event. Get a hold of us if you're interested in that training. And then you guys are heading out. What day are you guys heading out and hitting the streets, tomorrow or Friday?
I don't know. Where do you want to go? I think tomorrow would be a good day. Friday we kind of get bad traffic, but I invited. We're already talking about hitting the streets. As Buff and Shine, I go out and visit a lot of stores on a daily. Yep. I usually pick my days and I go out. I'll drive out to like Riverside in the Inland Empire, and then I'll leave pretty early. I'll leave like 5:30 in the morning. I'll leave and drive like 2 hours out, hour and a half.
And then I just start. You didn't tell me you were leaving at 5:30 in the morning. I'm not sure I can do it now.
Well, I leave. I still got a 45-minute drive to your house. But Chris Woman's on the way out there, on the way to LA. And I usually just map out, a couple stores. I get about 6 to about 10 stores, and I'll go all the way to the furthest one and just make my way back to Ventura and start going into these stores, talking to detailers, talking to the storefronts. Obviously, as the sales rep for Buff and Shine, I'm in there pushing our pads. But I thought it'd be a great idea, get Chris Woman out there, start talking to detailers and just networking. And, a lot of the stuff with Buff and Shine is, yes, the stores are my target market, but the end users is really my target market. So that's who I really talk to is the detailers that go into these stores and see what they're using, see what tools they're using, what's their best practices. I like to talk to prices about them. And unfortunately, right now, the detailers that I talked to this year, they're kind of hurting. They're not really selling those big ticket items, and again, it comes down to the economy. But I think it'll be fun to have a woman with me and going out there. And, we kind of talked about it the last 2 days a little bit. So I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow morning or Friday, but it's one of those things that I like to put on my calendar here. It's just like, 1 or 2 days I'll hit the road, either go up north or down south. And I think it'll be fun. What do you think, woman?
Oh, I'm good. Different? I'm good. Just, I'm flexible the next couple days.
I think a wet Willie wake up. I don't think you tell him what time you're going to pick him up. You work it out with his wife. You go into cuddle and just wet Willie him, wake him up. And, I think that'd be a good wake up call. So we'll have fun, guys. I'm jealous that I won't be there, but I'm putting a presentation together for next week in Vegas, and going to take my wife just texted me and invited me to lunch today. So how cool is that? I got a date with my wife today for lunch. Yeah. So, hey,
I will say this.
Yep.
No, I said I will say this. We will have lunch or dinner somewhere by Chris's house because he has a great Mexican restaurant he took me to last time.
Oh, he likes that place.
Yeah, that's a good place right there. So we'll make sure to make it back by dinner.
Salsa and deer is what it's called.
I've been eating really good, but the other night Diane calls me up. I cook. When I'm not training, I usually do probably about 80% of the cooking, and really got into our smoker. I mean, I don't even cook in the house hardly anymore. It's all on the smoker, right? It's so much easier to clean up. But man, I wanted Mexican food the other night, so she brought home a meal, and it was. I had 2 cheat meals that week, and both of them were that same night because it was, God, it was good. I hadn't had a good Mexican food meal in a while, and we jumped in. So hey, let's jump into this. You guys slow me down and jump in at any time. And so much input, the economy, is largely dependent on various factors that kind of are out of control. Government policy. We're going to get to the end of this one, and I'm not even going to go into it heavy. I don't think any of us will, the three of us, but government policies, the global economic conditions, technology advancements, geopolitical. Oh my God, we're seeing that, right? It's important to note that the forecasts are subject to change and can be influenced by any of this. Any of this can change on a dime. If one of our leaders in the world decides to be a real shithead, is going to affect all of us. Now, I kind of relate the economy to kind of like sweet and sour chicken. It's sweet for some of us, sour for others. But man, it's if you don't refrigerate it and keep it to the room right temperature, it soils, it goes bad. And there's a lot of people right now that are really struggling, and I get it. And we want to teach you and hopefully influence those that are not struggling. Maybe you get some fresh ideas today. The other ones, maybe you'll get, this will motivate you to take some action. So first off, a lot of people are killing it. There's you look at the economy and everybody's like bad, but there's a lot of people doing really well. A good example of this is we went and bought some new furniture for the shop, and it's all custom made. You have to order it. It takes 2 to 3 months to get it because they build it for you. So not just a plug and play furniture. I walked in and I had an appointment. Customer service is unbelievable. And they said straight out that they've never had in 30 something years, never had this busy of a November, December ever. And so that's good indication that if there's people spending that kind of money on high-end furniture, then we're not too bad off yet. Now, right down the way, I went into a walk-in take delivery furniture place, night and day in customer service, not very good. And the opposite, the sales guy said that they were super slow. It was dead, and he thought they're preparing for layoffs. Look at the difference. What things are in common? First off, right when I walk in and meet the gal, is that she highly recommended. Well, because I was coming from so far, she set a time zone for me. She goes, "Hey, if you show up between here and here, I'm going to give you 100% of my attention." And she did. And she broke away while we were doing the paperwork to go help some walk-ins, and I didn't mind that at all. But I would hear her, and she's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to go back over. I've got a set appointment customer right now. I'm going to go work with him for a minute. Please come over to my desk. Don't feel I'm ignoring you. I'm just paying attention to him right now because he had an appointment." That to me is why they're busy. The other place, they didn't stand out. This guy didn't know anything. This gal that I worked with is professional, 7 years, and man, she knew. Honestly, I walked out of there with about $3,000 more than I thought I was going to spend. And why? Because she educated me. And she gave me attention, and I saw value in what she was selling, and it was far more expensive than going right down the road. I could have spent half that amount of money and had it tomorrow, but I really wanted the quality, and I wanted something that's going to last. And I just like the one-on-one attention. I think made a big difference. And so, if you're hurting badly, you might look at your culture, even if you're a one-man shop. Have a dose of reality. Right now, we're back to reality. I don't necessarily think that this was a slow November or December. I think this was back to what blue-collar service businesses was before COVID. We're, especially in the detailing industry and the automotive industry, we typically are a little slower in parts of November. Our shops, when we were in shops, we got crazy busy right before Thanksgiving, and then we go right up to Christmas Eve. And then it would slow down in January. But I think it's more typical right now. So, it's about that. We're doing 60 to 120 days ago. If you're dead right now, what were you doing 120 days ago for marketing? You've got to take and ask yourself that. There's no real science to this. It's if you're doing hyper concentration on your marketing, you're marketing to the right segments, is your social media isn't going to be enough. You're getting local contacts and relationships. You're building all of this up. You've got to look at 120 days back, and that's just the reality of it. So what do you do? I mean, what's some things? And I'm going to get into Oscar here in a second. Is that we talked about right at the end of that. Look at hyper concentrated. What I mean by that is that we got an ad campaign going right now for some events. We've got it. We're not marketing to the entire globe. We're marketing for those segments. For instance, we've got a 1-day training going up, coding certification up in Oregon as it's going on. So I developed an ad campaign on Instagram and Facebook that is hyper concentrated to Oregon, to Washington, Northern California, parts of Nevada, parts of Idaho. Is that we have taken and hyper concentrated our ads and our money to that, and we're getting exposure. That way that ad doesn't show to somebody that's in Florida. Why do I want to market? Now our 5 days a little different. We've still got them hyper concentrated, but that one goes out to a national market and sometimes even an international market. And so you've got to look at that. I look at how many guys, Chris and Oscar, how many times do we go onto social media? And here we are, all three of us are in California, and we see ads for detailers that are across the country.
I start calling them. I'm not going to lie. I call them, but I call them to help them out, you know, and then I slide the buff and shine thing in there. Hey, what kind of pads are you using? You know, but I also call them to let them know that, hey man, I'm out here in California and you're in Chicago. I should not be seeing your ad here for ceramic coatings. No. You know, and sometimes it's not, again, I'm not cold calling. I'm not putting them on the web. I'm not doing any of that. I call to help because that's their dollars they're wasting, and that's dollars that they could be saving, especially in this economy. They can be saving that money and putting it towards something else. And usually about 9 out of 10 will take it. Sometimes I will have that one detailer that tells me you just don't know what you're talking about. Okay, cool, whatever, you know, but when I do see it, I do reach out to them. You know, and I'll let Chris Woman touch up on this, or something that I know we've talked about. Sometimes it's hard because they run ads and they don't even know where they're at.
Yeah,
you don't put where they're at. You look at their social media and nothing is. I'll let Chris jump onto this. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it's funny. You could read my mind. Yeah, we'll look at this stuff and there's no indication in their social media and their profile or anything of what city they're in, where they service. You know, sometimes there's not even contact information. You know, it's like all they want is a DM. There's no phone number, no nothing. I just don't get that. But it's important to make sure that people know where you're at, who you're servicing, what your market is, all that kind of stuff.
Boy, so true.
And I mean, it has to. And I just see someone says that they commented, you know, thank you for doing that, Melinda, for commenting on, because it does help detailers out. We're one community that we have to work together. But for the traveling that I do, and maybe that's why I pick up so many ads, is because I do a lot of traveling, so my phone's pinging in different places. But I mean, still, it's crazy to me how many times I see an ad, at least 2 or 3 a day, come through my social media of a detailer marketing ceramic coating, and it's across the country. And that's because they're just running a nationwide, you know, ad. Maybe we need to bring Chris William Lara on here and show us how to do ads or something. I don't know, but you know, and it's really, you know, it's something helpful, and it goes to the business side. And you know, touching on the business side, you touched about what were you doing 120 days ago for your marketing. I'm asking the opposite. What were you doing 120 days ago to save your money? Where was all that money going that you're bringing in? Is it being spent? Is it just being thrown away? Or, you know, are you buying the new shoes? Are you going out to dinner every day? Are you wasting that money on other things? Or are you tucking it away for a cold January, you know, or not so busy February? That's the way that I see the business side of this. Is not only the marketing, is saving your money.
You know, I'm going to pick on somebody without naming anybody because there's a freaking bunch of them. But, you know, it's funny. I listened to a podcast a while back, and person younger, newer in the business, just freaking bragging it up. The biggest thing in detailing has got his, when you look it up, it's got his picture, you know, that kind of self-confidence. It wasn't 2 weeks later, I see a post where he's slow and trying to dig up business. And this person lives bigger than life. And there's so much fraud out there going on in these different business. Me too, man. You know, everybody's me too. Look what he or she's doing. Dude, you don't know the backstory of that. You just don't. And, you know, have I lived that? Dude, absolutely, man. Have I flexed? Absolutely. Do I now? Yeah, occasionally. I really don't care anymore. The stuff that I've got and the things I do it's for me. I bought a car a few years ago. I always wanted to drive one. It ended up one of my least favorite cars. I won't bag on it because there's a lot of people that love them, but honestly, I hated that car. And Chris knows what it is because I blew the engine while I was heading to an event with him in the car. But when I got it, I was so excited to have the car. I took Chris on a wild ride to Vegas in it. And, honestly, I just overdrove the car. I mean, I freaking froze the motor up, melted the motor, as they said. But I remember the gratification of getting that car lasted at about 2 weeks. And I was like, man, why did I buy this? And it was a reality check because I don't know. I just didn't need the car. It wasn't a car that was that exciting to me. And maybe when I was younger in my years, it would have been, but I just beat the shit out of the car. My point to this is we buy stuff thinking it's going to make us happy. And a lot of times it just doesn't. And if you can learn that at a young age, you're better off. Matter of fact, our CPA was telling me this is the first time I haven't bought a vehicle in a calendar year, and I can't remember. It's been a bit. It's like a decade.
Hey, I want to share something real quick. Jeremy, I hope I say his last name right, Lau. He just wrote this in. I think it's a quote from somebody that says, most people will sacrifice what they want most for what they want now. And now is the most expensive word in the English language.
Boy, I'll tell you. Amen. Good. Jeremy, thanks for giving that. Instant gratification is a disease. And if you're a entrepreneur or business owner or a wannabe business, because there's a lot, let me tell you, just because you're doing your own gig doesn't mean that you're an entrepreneur or business owner yet. You might just be playing that position and not really in that position. Now, how are you going to learn how you're going to get to that position is playing that position. So you got to do it. But there's a lot of rookies out there that are doing it like 20-year veterans. There's a lot of 20-year veterans doing it like rookies. And so you've got to take in, not everybody's at that entrepreneur table. A lot of people, everybody thinks they are. And the people that I dig the most are the people that don't think they are and they really are. Justin Lobato, I remember when he was first getting his start, and I told him, dude, hey, man, he wasn't going to go to SEMA. I said, you got to get there, man. There's a chair opening up at a table that there's only one opening. And they just added a chair for you. There was no chair there. And I remember that year is the year that he really came out. And he's done really well. So let's jump into what guerrilla marketing is. Hey, so, hey, Marine. So guerrilla warfare, what's the tactics of where does guerrilla marketing come from? It comes from a statement, and I think America really first saw this, definitely some in some of the guerrilla warfare in World War II, but really the first time I think we saw it on a major scale. Wouldn't you agree? It's probably Vietnam. Oscar is where we saw guerrilla warfare really take shape in the history of our country.
Yeah, disrupting the enemy, disrupting them is the key to that, is disrupting the objective of what they have going on. And I think that it playing into business, it takes tact, it takes time, it takes discipline to do that. But one thing that I just talked to Renny about, I think it was Friday, I texted you, is staying ahead of the competition. Educate yourself. I literally just started doing online again classes to educate myself on the sales rep side of the house, not the detailing, not the business. I need to be a better salesperson, for Buff and Shine. So I told Rich, the owner of Buff and Shine, I talked to Renny. Those are the two people I reached out to first. I said, hey, I need to notch it up a little bit. And that's literally me staying on top of the game, is educating yourself. Like Renny said, a lot of people come into this and they pretend like they know what they're doing and it looks good and whatnot. But do you really know your numbers? Do you really know, what you're doing, or are you just detailing cars? And I've had this conversation again with women a lot, are they entrepreneurs or are they just detailers? Are they really business owners? And to me, I think the guerrilla warfare on our end, guerrilla marketing, is staying on top of it, staying educated, take the time and take online classes or go to college. There was a time where I was working nights and detailing during the day. And when I was done, when I opened up my shop, I went to school during the days and started detailing nights. And I did that for 2 straight years, that schedule. 2 straight years. I worked nights and detailed during the day. As soon as I had enough money to get into the shop again, I turned around, I took a month off, And I think I took December off, but I was in the shop. And then January, I started day school. We started going to community college and then detailing in the afternoons into the evenings to educate myself on that, to stay on top, to stay ahead of the games, ahead of the competition, you know, all while trying to save money. So I think it's very important what Renny's saying here with the guerrilla marketing. You know, you got to stay on top of it. You got to stay ahead of it.
Absolutely. So, Chris, when I say guerrilla marketing, what pops up in your mind? What's the first thing that enters your mind?
Kind of like going back to basics, but I know that's not exactly what it is. You know, I mean, it like Oscar said, it's kind of being disruptive, but it's more like surprising people with tactics that maybe you're not using, you know, or you haven't used in a while. So that's what I mean by going back to basics. You know, you're kind of maybe revisiting old ways of doing things that people aren't familiar with anymore.
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. So both of those. So Oscar, you'll appreciate this. The first time that back when the wars are going on, this is going back almost about a decade, is we had a commander that found out, can't even remember what unit this was, but we first engaged him down in San Diego, and we were working with them on qualifying on the Marine base ranges, because all the guard ranges were so piled up because we were sending so many guard units out that we begged the Marine Corps to open up their ranges for us, which they did, which was a whole other story. But one of the commanders heard that I had a specialty in man tracking and search and rescue, and I've been teaching combat life-saving skills and certifications, and asked us to run a opposition force team against his team. Now, these are pretty seasoned warriors, right? So I was like, man, we're going to go up there and get our asses whipped. But hell, man, a weekend warrior, I'm going to take that on any day, right? Long story short, opposition forces OPFOR is exactly that. We play the bad guys. And what happened is that what it turned out is why he wanted us is that we're all trained and we're all weekend warriors, but we're another degree because of search and rescue. We've got skill sets that the average infantry unit, just a standard infantry unit, does not possess, but yet they've got better combat skills than us. So his point was, you guys are exactly what we're going to face in Iraq or Afghanistan, is that you're going to have these tactically inferior soldiers that are beast mode, and they've got these natural mountain skills that we don't have. And so unit after unit was requesting us to go in. Why? Because of our guerrilla tactics. We didn't do anything. We're unpredictable. An instance of this, and I'm going to relate it back to business, is the third or fourth unit that we went against. We knew we had scouted them out, and I overheard a conversation as I was buried down in the bush, and they're talking about their command post. Well, we pulled back and they passed us up. We went, and what'd we do? We overtook their command post. They only had 2 people guarding their whole command post. 15 minutes after that loose lips sink ships situation with their soldiers going through the field, and they didn't even know we were there, is we had control of their command post. Well, what'd we do? We brought them back in, one squad at a time, and took them out. We never shot. We never put a bullet down range, and we captured the whole unit alive, and they were pissed. Well, that's the same thing as guerrilla warfare in business. Is, listen, first thing off, guerrilla warfare is not traditional. It's targeted. Second thing, what I love about guerrilla warfare, there's a book called Guerrilla Marketing. It's an old book. I pull it up every couple of years. I pulled it up last year and read it again. But it's unconventional tactics. Chris and Oscar just said that. Guerrilla marketing campaigns used unconventional tactics to reach the target audience. The other thing is they use untraditional tactics in relationship building. They're doing the hard stuff. And let me tell you, most people in the world, 90%, start with the easy stuff and never get to the real hard stuff. The hard stuff is where success, happiness, profits, money, and wealth is built. Is I can tell from a mile away a person's going to struggle because they go to the easiest thing first. is I can tell from a mile away when a person is going to take and eventually make it to the top because they're starting out with the hard stuff and their journey is going to be easier. So the other thing about guerrilla marketing is it's really creative and innovative. Is that there is no that you can't teach a lot of this. A lot of this comes out of gut instincts and or mentorship. Is that it's tribal knowledge. It's what you're learning from other people that have already done it. And that's the nice thing about the mafia is that so many of us had to come through this guerrilla marketing era of the industry is that we can lay back. A lot of my live messages are exactly on things like this, but we can surprise and engage an audience by delivering messages that are unexpected and memorable. It's hard to beat that. It's really, really hard to beat that. The other thing is the emotional connection is that you're going to take the time to build up a relationship versus having a customer. Now, downside of that is, again, you're 120 days to 5 years out. We've had people come to training that we have been engaging them and talking to them for 5 years. We had customers, ideal Schwarzenegger. Okay. We tried to avoid, I love H1 Hummers, right? Schwarzenegger. So he had a handful of them and we tried to reach him for years. He was a client on another business that we own, but we couldn't get his detail work. And I went guerrilla warfare and I ended up getting it. And so how did I do that? A whole nother subject. Ask me sometime and I'll share it with you. It's kind of a fun story. And then word of mouth is that guerrilla marketing is all about getting others to talk about your message and generating buzz spread through the word of other people, both now through social media, but more so the old saying, around the water cooler at work, around the coffee maker at work. Get them talking about you in their circles and you're going to win. And so there's what guerrilla marketing is. And what you need to do is that you've got to go in and really just target, get down to be able to appear and just disrupt. And a lot of people, unfortunately, when I say disrupt, they think it's talking shit about the competition. You know, right now in the training world, I watch what's going on. Right now in the product world, I watch what's going on. And I just try to answer it with dignity. You can come in. I'm going to start something new. I had an idea a few months ago. I kind of put it into motion this morning a little bit. I'm going to start out a little slow with it, test the waters, see what it does. We got a whole new video series coming out. You guys are going to see that launch, you know, if not today, in the next couple of days. We've got a lot of things that we're going to disrupt. Is we're going to put a tripping zone into the market, not to hurt other people, but just to push us forward. So, all right, gents, what do you got to add to that?
You know, this is how disrupting can backfire on you. And I see this on the training side, you know, disrupting and lowering your price. Yeah, you'll disrupt the market. You're going to shock people, but that's not the way of doing it. And I'm starting to see that a lot in my community is prices going down. People doing ads saying, you know, we're hurting for business. Come to me.
Oh,
that's, I think in a sense, that's marketing. That's guerrilla marketing because it's something different that they're doing, but they're practically begging and saying, you know, please do business with me because I'm about to go out of business, or, you know, I'll do this for free. You know, on the training side, I've seen the training and I've stayed on top of it for the last, 2 years, almost 2 years now. And I remember when Chris was doing the SWOT analysis on stuff like that, I kind of got into a little bit, started seeing prices. You're seeing one days going from $5.99 to $2.99. You know,
oh yeah,
and
desperation.
I see it, yeah, and it's like, and you know, $1.99, and you know, and giving out store credit and all that. So it's like, what are you really making to get your name out there? You're not making anything on that 1 day training, you know. So I'm starting to see that, you know, detailers are desperate in lowering prices. You know, what used to be the 125 is 75.50, now it's 25. You know. And that's also where your marketing can go wrong. And I'm saying this because I see it out there, you know, and I talk to some of the local guys around here, and not all of them are doing it, but the ones that are desperate are. And the other thing is I'm starting to see a lot of stuff go up for sale on the Facebook marketplace.
Ooh,
full-blown trailers, full-blown trailers, vans, everything going up. And it's, you know, and what I see with that is it all says 2 to 3 years, you know, old. That's during COVID, you know, and they're not used to the hunt. They're not used to slow winters. They're used to, you full winters because everybody was getting that COVID money, the stimulus checks and all that. I'm not gonna lie, some of my best months in business at the shop was during COVID. I was banking because no one was caring about spending, but now it's a little bit different. So just be careful how you're doing that marketing, and to go back to something that you said, I actually wrote it down. I got an email to send to the masters of the Detail Mafia that are going to Education Day. And that's one of the things that I'm going to ask them is, can you please give a class on how you got through the struggles in the earlier days? I want the masters to talk about this to our group at Mobile Tech, of how they got through it, because it's been like this before. Some of us haven't seen it. Some of us have. But, I'd like to get their input on it during our special day out there at Mobile Tech that Sunday on our Education Day for the Mafia to get that out. So I definitely will be reaching out to them today.
No,
Chris, you got anything on this?
I was actually going to, just kind of remind people too, I've seen some big, what I would call big names in the industry, right? People with lots of followers start offering cash discounts off their detailing services already. And, that's one thing that, Renny has preached for a long time is, added value instead. I mean, if you give a cash discount, that's $100 out of your pocket that's gone if it's $100 discount, right? But if you tell your customer that you're going to give them a free windshield coating, which is worth $100, that's $5-10 out of your pocket instead, and 20 minutes of your time, and that's a big difference from $100 out of your pocket. So that's just something to consider. But Renny, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but do you have any just examples of guerrilla marketing tactics that could work for detailers?
Yeah, I mean, going out and one of the things, I'll keep one of them. I'm going to go live with the Mafia, so I'm going to keep that one. I think it's probably one of the biggest things I'd be doing right now. I'm going to keep that one for that select group, and the only reason why is because they're family to us. Not that the whole industry isn't, but this is a special one. So Mafia, I'll go in and I'm going to go live here right after I'm done with this and share that idea. I just talked about this with somebody coming to training that sent me something yesterday, and I'll share it with you guys. Well, you'll see the live feed here in a second. So disruption, what am I going to do? Never price discount. Is that in public? What do I mean by that? I've been in a situation where I was desperate. I had to feed the kids. I had to pay bills. So I don't advertise a discount. I would be lying to you that people would come in and I would offer, hey, if you do both cars, I'll give you $100 off a vehicle, because I needed the money. The mortgage was due. We had Christmas coming, whatever it was, is that I did it. But here's the biggest thing that you can do, and I've preached this for years, is wintertime right now, is interiors. We went through this phase. The interiors are coming back. It's back fashionable. To me, in our world, it never left. Is interiors are 50% of detailing. Is people say, yeah, but I can make a lot more money off coatings. Yeah, but you can make a lot more per hour off coatings, but you can still make a really good living off of interiors. And if you yourself don't like doing them, then have somebody in your shop that's an interior specialist. So here's one thing that we did at our shop to get our winter business up, is every interior that was done, we would give a wash, clay, and protect. So wash and clay it with bead maker, and send them out with a protected car that's going to get them through winter. People became reliant on it. They loved that. And we just had a discussion in the group about that. We did that, 25 years ago. We started that program, and it stuck. People would call us up and say, oh my God, you guys run that special. We didn't run that special. After so many winters, we didn't have to anymore. But when people would mention it, absolutely, we gave them that wash, clay, and protect as part of the package. And we sold so many thousands of those services. We used to use McGuire's D156. I can still remember the product name, because what we do is we train a staff member that we had somebody that specialized in interiors. And while they're starting the interior, we had our newest team member that was doing the exterior with that product. And what it meant is we would it's an easy service. It doesn't cost you but about $10, and give it away during the wintertime. Give it away during the wintertime. You're not cash discounting your interiors. I'm still charging full price for an interior, but I'm giving added value with a free wash and protect. Now you could just do a wash, but that protect doesn't take much longer. And to me, is that when you can say this is going to give you 30 days to 90 days of protection, it gets you through. I don't want to tell them, oh, it's going to give you 6 months of protection, because I want them back in the spring. I don't want them going 6 months out. I want them back in 3, 4 months, 2, 3, 4 months to do more work on it. And so I don't want to overget it. So we love to market that in January, February. And then by March, we really didn't have to market that anymore. Is that we would still offer it, but we weren't putting it out to the public. We would do it on a private one-on-one basis, depending on how busy we were.
Yeah, and your marketing message to your customers can be, I'm providing this service for you for free because we care about your car, and right now it's all about protection, not perfection. And then in the spring you can come back on and we can make your car perfect again on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guerrilla marketing, and Jeremy says something really cool again. Is he talks about, we work with local restaurants. We give them, look at that. It's up. Chris, you're amazing. And so, is that you do different. Now, what we did, this is another great one. And I'll share this one I was going to share with the Mafia. I'm going to give this one to everybody right now, is we went to the upscale dealerships. And what I mean by that, let me tell you, man, a Cadillac Escalade today, I don't know what, I know they're north of 100,000, right? That's an upscale vehicle, guys. I mean, that's at a brand new Escalade's probably at the value of a used Porsche 911, right? So you don't have to have a Porsche or Ferrari. I'm not talking about those brands. I'm talking about any car that's upper end. I would go find the top 2 or 3 salesmen at each dealership, and I would say, listen, what I'm going to do is give you a coupon. Every customer that buys a car from you, this is only to you and you and you at this dealership, is that within 90 days of buying the vehicle, that customer gets a free wash, claim, protect on their vehicle that you're giving them. And I'm giving you this gift card. This is exclusively for you to offer to your customers when they buy a car from you. And then what would happen is, what are those clients? They usually weren't our customers. It was a new customer. That salesperson felt good about giving them something. We did it on their vehicles first to show them what the feeling was of having it. They absolutely loved it. And so we would give them, at first we'd say, listen, how many cars are you selling? How many Escalades a month are you selling? How many 911s a month are you selling? So they'd say 6, 8, whatever the number is we would give them half of those. Not all of them, half. The reason why is we wanted to get them, it's like giving somebody a little taste of crack, is we wanted to get them onto the crack into where we could take and give them an opportunity. Here's the other thing, as I told them, listen, this is going to be at a very high level. This is going to reflect back on you very good. And once you get to a dozen, where you send us a dozen of these, we're going to take and have custom cards made up that says, on the behalf of you, Jeremy, we want to thank you for coming into our detailing shop. Jeremy is a great partner with us. He does a great job. And so on behalf of him, we want to thank you. On behalf of her, we want to thank you. Is that we're going to give credit back to the salesperson. What's that do? It builds their business up too. And they get a call from the customer, or when the dealership checks in, what are their review status for that salesperson? That's why they're the top producing salesperson. The other thing we do is, Jeremy over in Hawaii, his wife is just killing it in sales. And so they might sell real estate. They might sell custom furniture. We don't just look in the car industry. We look at people. Here's the other thing, is like, if I was still running a shop, when I bought that furniture the other day, I would have given that salesperson the same opportunity. I would say, look, you're outstanding. I want to do something. Anybody that buys furniture from you, is we want to give them a gift. Say thank you. Here's somebody we network with. They're going to give you a free wash, clean, protect on your car. Doesn't have to be your car-related business. That's guerrilla marketing. You're thinking outside the box. It doesn't have to be anything to do. It could be a maid service that's outstanding. Give them, again, let them earn the additional ones. Give them 2, 3, or 4 of them. See if those start coming back to you. If they don't, go and find somebody else. If they do, now you're talking to a cohort and guerrilla marketing that gets what your message is, that gets what your mission is, and they're going to take and join forces with you Now that's a force multiplier. Now you've got a sales team that you're not paying that's out there promoting your brand and your product while you're promoting their brand and their product. That's a win-win situation.
Yeah, a perfect example, because I'm thinking, outside the box marketing. There's two that come to mind. One is Fabletics. I think it's the name of the brand. Kevin Hart does an ad. The first thing says, don't look or don't buy this shorts. Don't buy Fabletics. You don't want this because if you're not going to the gym, this is not for you. That's got my attention. That's got it. And the other one is, if anybody's been to New York City, you've seen that cowboy with the cowboy with the guitar.
Yep.
He's disrupting everything. That dude is famous, and he charges $20 for a picture, and I'm sure he's taking about 50 pictures a day. That's guerrilla marketing. One thing that I've seen as I'm traveling the country, with Buffer Shine and going into shops is, I don't see this in detail shops, but when these dancers started coming out with the boards, people made fun of them, and then they started making money. But that type of marketing kind of phased out around here, at least in SoCal. You don't see them anymore. The people dancing outside with signs, that was disrupting the market, because people would drive by and be like, oh, look, there's a guy with the cool moods. I want to be able to see the dancing detailer out there, pulling people into the shop, because that's what you're going to be known for, and it's thinking outside the box. And those are the two, like that cowboy in New York City. When I went out there a few times, when I was stationed out there in New York, he always had a line, and it was like, why? Because he was different. He didn't have a fancy billboard, in Times Square. He didn't have the money for that. He was out there in a cowboy hat and a guitar and some tidy whities, and that's what he's known for. And again, that type of marketing is where you need to be at, is think outside the box. I've never ran a Facebook ad for my shop. It was all word of mouth. And I just never believed in it, because I believed in building relationships. That was my tactic. Plant seeds with other business owners and then build their business up as they build your business up. I believed in giving out 3 referrals to everyone that I met. And I figured if I give them 3 referrals, they're going to eventually give me 3 referrals. That was my tactic for building the business up. But, just think outside the box, and, maybe we should get a challenge going out there in the industry and see who's got the best guerrilla marketing.
I dig it. Well, it's, there's again, I've got so many wild ideas. I'm going to introduce something to the Mafia when we're down at Mobile Tech that I think is a game. It's a game changer, and it's a disruptor, and it's easy. That's what the nice thing about guerrilla marketing. The biggest problem that people have, and then we'll get out of here, is we can talk about all these different disciplines, but if you're not disciplined and you don't take action, it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work, is that you've got to be disciplined enough to do these disciplines. And it's like working out. I can't remember who said it, is you can, and I don't even, I've got so many things going through my mind right now, but you can own a gym membership, but if you don't go and lift, doesn't do any good. One of the, my workout partner is one of Diane's really good riding friends. She's in the horse community up here. We've become really good friends. She's 68 years old, dude. She kicks we worked out yesterday so hard that, and I would have never guessed this June's this big.
I've seen her.
She's a beast, man. Right? She is and yesterday, I'm not kidding you, I am so sore from the competitive workout that we did. Who would ever guessed that we're odd friends? She's in a real estate business. The commonality is that she's really good friends with Diane, really into the horse thing, but her and I have got this passion. She has ignited my endorphin producing side of me like hasn't been done in 5 years. I mean, it is just amazing, just absolutely amazing. And why do I mention that? Is because she's in the real estate business, and when she's here, we're both taking text. I get, especially this last week with the PNS changes. I don't know. I'm up to 400 and some mixed text. You can imagine, but we're both trying to keep up with it. And I'll hear her response, and here she is, well into her, a self-made millionaire in real estate, and she's still learning, and she's still guerrilla marketing, and she's still, and you know what? She makes it. She loves doing it. She likes to help other people. and she tries to be as honest as she can. And I've seen that integrity from the backside, and it's pretty attractive when you see entrepreneurs do business like that. So, all right. Hey, again, this is sponsored by us. And so we want to take in, the industry is what I'm talking about. If you'd like to get involved with our trainings, we have one-day extremes all over the country. We've got my voice snap. That's telling me I need more coffee. And we've got a 5-day. We're booked up right now for the next couple months. And we've got March sold out, January, February. March, 2 spots left, 3 spots left in April. These are going to start going really quick. And again, now and again, we'll have scholarships. So make sure if you're interested. Usually, it's going to be the scholarships are for specific months, and so reach out to Chris. Chris, how do they get a hold of you?
That's an easy one. You could hit me up at chris@detailingsuccess.com, or you can call and text me, and I'll give that out. It's 818-564-5839.
And Oscar, thank you so much. I'm going to read this off. Joel with IGL just said this. Bring this up if you could.
I was just reading it. I was just
Yeah.
reading that too. That's very, thank you, Joel, for that.
Yeah. Is that you read through this?
I'm not sure it'll all show on the screen at once.
I'm going to read through it because I see big people this is Joel talking, big people in the industry advertising new installers to stop detailing, just do coatings and PPF and tint. This is a huge mistake. How do you get that PPF tint and coating jobs in the first place? Because of detailing. Also, this is why the DIY market is growing so much. Detailers pushing the customers away to DIYs themselves. Now the detailer has pushed the consumer to become good at cleaning themselves, and now it will cost themselves cost themselves in the long run. Be careful. It's exactly it. And I've heard people actually. Joel, you just nailed it. That's why I love this dude. I pissed somebody off the last couple of years at Mobile Tech each year because there's some smart ass that will come in and say, I just send my interiors to my competition. And I always say this, and usually it's a younger person that's naive or a older person that's just stupid. I'll tell them this: if you take and give up an interior customer to me, do you know what's going to happen? And they go, no, what? And I said, you're never getting that customer back. You're never getting him back for paint correction. You're never getting him back for coatings. You're never getting him back for PPF. You're never getting him back for window film. I own them. Why? It's because I am so sure of our culture, our follow-up, our marketing, and my ability to make connection with people that the chances of you getting them back are slim, very slim. And so why would you send anything to somebody else? If you're that busy and you've got that much opportunity, train somebody in-house to be your interior expert and have them do your interiors for you. I still love interiors.
Yeah, Mike Harlan commented early on that he thinks a big problem in the industry is a lot of detailers gave up on interiors. And he's
they
right.
did. Yeah, Ed, we've been preaching this for years. We saw this coming down, and I was like, this is a foolish mistake. Is that, it's again, you're not well-rounded. If you're not well-rounded and somebody's going to outperform you, they're going to keep those customers. So so with that, I would try to keep this right at that hour. And I've got my phone going off again and going crazy. So gents, it was awesome. Good conversation. You guys have a good road trip. Romero says, hey man, at least Oscar, you live within LA. So, you don't have to go too far.
That's how the Bay Area people think,
Yeah. We always have this discussion. So that, California is a big state. It's really long. So Oscar thinks that everything from where Chris is an inland empire when it's not.
Yeah.
But Northern California, we think it's like, I get up like Ventura is almost going into Northern California. San Luis Obispo is definitely Northern California. So we have these opinions that people up south, they think everything's Los Angeles, and it's funny. So, yeah. Well, hey, a lot of comments. Hey, I got to read that one. The best investment I ever made for my business was Renny's class and buying a steamer for interior work. I don't know who that was that said it because it just says Facebook user, but thank you. Again, if you'd like to connect with us and train, There's a lot of options out there. Few are going to take and connect, if any, are going to connect and share with you the mindset of millionaires. We're going to share that with you. You're going to have to, all we're going to do is make suggestions. You're going to make decisions. So it's not an automatic success. People think once they get here, oh man, you're on your road. And if you allow the time and energy and you connect with the various millionaires in our group, it can definitely happen. But the hard work's going to be in your path, not ours. We can just lead you to water. You're going to have to drink it. So with that, you guys have a great day. Have a great road trip. I'm going to go and go live in the Mafia, share an idea right now that I've got. And then my phone's blowing up, man. I mean, calls coming in, everything else. Good problem to have. I'm blessed. But if I don't get back with you, if you're listening, don't take it personal. It's just, it's buried. And we're going to take and get Bob and Dave on, and a lot of warm wishes to them on the success of the transition of their company into a whole new realm. So thanks everybody for attending, and have a blessed week ahead. And we won't be back next week. I'll be in Vegas at a sales event and doing a keynote speech for that event. And then we will be back the following week. We've got I sent over Chris and Oscar a guest list. We got some really cool topics coming up on the podcast, and we're really excited to bring those your direction. So, fellas, have fun. Everybody, stay blessed, stay healthy, and go live a great life. We'll see you here. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks when I'm back. All right? Later, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Renny Doyle podcast, brought to you by Detailing Success and PNS Double Black. Listen to new episodes weekly, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to share with your friends and colleagues.